Hi everyone, I'm Randa Dube and I know some of you already know me, and today is a very special day for me as I'm here to share my story with you. Last year at this very moment, I never thought I would be alive to this day. In the summer of 2019, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer, and ER and PR positive cancer, which was mainly driven by the estrogen and progesterone hormones. At that moment, I was shaken. But just to give you a bit of background, prior to this year, in the year that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had developed something that I did not understand. I emerged to be a different person. I was so determined to change my personal space. I had this drive and this urge to declutter, to get rid of clutter in my life. And I engaged into that process of decluttering by actually looking at the pillars of the stress drivers in my life that I felt they were the ones that were kind of draining me or kind of pushing so much negative energy towards my universe. So I started a decluttering process. And at that point in time, I didn't understand what was going on. The age and the drive was so much. I tried to resist it for sometimes, but I could not resist it for so long. And I had to start the process. So when I engaged into the process, I didn't know what I was doing because it was something that was beyond my control. So I started with just clearing my personal space. I looked at my relationships as the first one. I looked at family, colleagues, friendships, and I said goodbye to some of those relationships that I found to be toxic, or those that I found to be exhibiting a lot of negative energy into my life. I just wanted peace. I felt like I wanted this tranquil, this space, and I didn't understand what was going on at that particular time. And then I looked at my spirituality. I felt like I was not in alignment with my divine source. And I looked at the pillars of my divine source at that moment, and they needed a lot of redefining and a lot of placement on as to where exactly am I and where do I want my spirituality, at what level do I feel satisfied. So I had to engage into a research, and I also had to start doing a lot of reading to enhance and to just build my knowledge towards spirituality. And after looking upon my spirituality, I had already embarked at the age of 38. I was 43 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. So at the age of 38, I engaged into a journey of trying to go plant-based diet. And also at that moment, I didn't understand why I was doing it. And I tried to do it, stopped, tried to do it and stopped. So I was in and out because of peer pressure, influences around me. And, plant-based is not a common thing like everywhere you go. When you go out with friends, with family, there's so much things that are available that are animal-based versus plant-based. So my journey was kind of haphazard and not concrete. I could not really achieve my goal. So I kept being in and out of it. But in 2018, I actually decided I needed to decide which path I was taking regarding my diet. And in 2018, I said, I'm not going back. Now I am 100% plant-based. So I went plant-based, and I'm still on plant-based to this day. And then I looked at other elements, that some things that had just started changing were reading and journaling. I started to journal, to write thoughts. Like sometimes I would experience these thoughts, and I would experience certain dreams that this is something that I've experienced from a young age. I've always been a dreamer where my dreams are not just dreams. I dream powerful dreams that come to existence in most of the cases. So it's something that has been with me, and I've just been trying to suppress it and not to really give it a platform or a space, or to value, or to give the value that it's worth. So I always kind of swept it under the carpet. Of course, sometimes I'll dream and things would happen and I'll be like, oh, okay. But I never really got time to sit down and see why is it I am like that, you know? So at this particular time in 2018, I started to look at all those things. I started journaling down, I started writing my dreams, I started to reflect a lot on my notes or my journals that I would have written down. I would actually go back and look at the patterns to say, why is it this thought keeps reoccurring? Is there some background trauma? What is it that's making me have these kind of thoughts? So these are some of the things that I had started, that I had embarked on. Little did I know that that decluttering was actually an ammunition. It was actually the tools that I needed when this journey then came. So come August 2019, I woke up with a lump on my left breast, and I went to see the doctor on the 30th in the morning. And when I visited the hospital, my anticipation or my forecast at that moment was thinking that since I had been working out so hard, probably I had bruised one of the muscles, or maybe I had a sprain in my breast. I just didn't know, I'm not a medical person by any means or by any chance. So I just assumed it could be because I've been running a lot, and the summers here are quite hot. So I felt like maybe it's one of those reasons, because the weather is pretty hot. Even though I did it indoors where it's cool, but I felt like maybe that contrast of going in, out, cold weather, hot weather, maybe could have triggered it. So I thought it could have been a virus or something that I could just get an antibiotic and get rid of it. However, the body language of my breast physician at that time, when she did the breast examination using the hand breast examination, I could read the body language that she was unease. And I asked her, what do you think it is? Why is it you seem a bit? And she said, I think I need you to have an ultrasound, a mammogram, and an MRI. And I said, why should I go for a mammogram? Mammogram is the last thing I want to have. And I've had a health check a month before, so I think I'm good. I came here and you guys checked me, so I don't think we have to go all that way. And she said, I think we have to, Miranda. This doesn't seem right. So at that point in time, still I was in denial. I didn't think it was anything that could be related to a cancer or anything of that. It's something that we don't talk about so often. And my family history, in my maternal and paternal, I have not experienced it. So it's something that I didn't think would be something I would worry about at a certain time in life. And I had my test done, and the doctor said some of the results would be back in the afternoon. And I had a blood routine test done as well. And then in the afternoon, so we had a chance to go back home with my family. And then we went home, had lunch, and then came back for the results. And then that's when I sat with my doctor, and my doctor said, I see your results are not looking too good. However, at this point in time, we can't really say what it is, but it looks like it's a malignant tumor. However, we can't say that before we have like a biopsy done. So we have to book you for a biopsy. And they booked me in for a biopsy to come in on the 31st of August. So 31st of August, I was there having my biopsy done, and I was all relaxed, and the doctor was explaining to me I was in severe denial. And my breast physician kept trying to kind of hint that things are not good, Miranda. You are faced with a cancer situation, even though you are in denial. So I just brushed it off and had my biopsy done. My biopsy was done, and I was told the results would be back in 2 days' time. And then on this, that was the 31st, on the 2nd of August, hospital. So now we got to the hospital, and there we were sitting down waiting for them to brief us. And at that point in time, because the doctor had indicated the previous day, and I got in touch with some close friends of mine, and I said, guys, I don't understand, something has just happened, and it's just, it's not sounding good, but I'm not scared and I'm not worried about it. I think the doctors are panicking. And they said, are you okay? And I said, I think so. I said, one of my friends said, Miranda, I'm coming, I'll be there with you and with my husband. And I said, okay. So there we were at the hospital. We had the biopsy results coming back, and we waited for the results, and I was given the results, and it was confirmed that it was invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. At that time, I won't lie, I was broken, I was shaken, I crumbled like a cookie. I saw my world, falling in front of me, and I didn't know how to help myself. I got to a point where I was hopeless, and I was like, if something like this can just happen overnight, so it means I can equally just die overnight. So reality was starting to kick in at that time. Then we went home with my friend, my family. We got home, and the doctors called me and they said, Miranda, we need to book you in for further testing. We need to do a genetic testing. We need to do the other test, which is the bone scan, and we need to do an abdominal ultrasound for the organs, the liver, the pancreas, and the lung. And we need to see exactly, and we also need to look at your lymph nodes. So we need to look at your lymphatic system and the hormonal function. So all those tests were lined up for me, and they said, once we have all the results back, that's when we can start talking about the treatment plan. This is just from the 30th when I went to the hospital, and now I'm faced with this. Everything was happening, and I experienced a roller coaster of emotions at that time. I was broken. I can't explain it. So we waited for the results to come back. And during that period of time of waiting for the results, I was still in denial, but still I felt hopeless. I don't know if that makes sense. I just didn't understand what was going on. I closed myself in my bedroom. I cried so hard. I just didn't understand how to address my family. I didn't know how to present myself in front of my family, even though they were there. I didn't know if I needed to be with them, because I didn't know if I was going to be with them for any longer at that point in time. So what happened is the results came back. We went back for the results. My friends are still there. My family is still there supporting me all the way. And we went back for my results. So all those results were now back And this was like on the 7th of August. And it was time for them to discuss the treatment plan. I went back in, not knowing what I was doing, and I just sat there, and my friend and her husband, they had a notebook and they drafted like loads of questions just to help me, because they could see that I was not thinking straight. So they were there to question, to quiz and ask the doctors on the treatment options, and also just to understand the expertise within the hospital to handle my case. So they had a whole bunch of questions lined up for the doctors. How long the doctors had been doing this, the experience of the doctors, all that information, just digging deeper to understand if I was in the right hands, since this was seeming to be becoming bigger than we all anticipated. We listened to the doctors briefing us of their findings, of all the test results and their analysis, and now the diagnosis that they felt was suitable for me. And they recommended that the first choice for me was to have surgery immediately. After surgery, I would have to go for chemotherapy and radiation. The second option was the vice versa, where I had to have chemotherapy to shrink the tumor and have followed by surgery. And then after surgery, I would have to go for radiation. So at that point in time, my sixth sense kicked in again. I just felt this urge again to say no. And I said, thank you for the results you've presented upon me and for your recommendations. But I strongly feel I need time. I cannot do this. I cannot be in theater in the next week or in the next few days. How much time do I have, considering the stage of my cancer? How much time do I have to go back and do a research so that when I come back, I am mentally and fully prepared for my treatment or for the way forward regarding treatment for my situation? And the doctor said, you can take a week and you go and do your research, and after a week you have to come back to us so that we sit down and start the treatment right away. The longer we wait, the more riskier it becomes. So then I told them, thank you very much, and we left. I left the hospital in tears. I could not comprehend it. Now reality was kicking in, and I went back home and I started my research. Fortunately, my friend had actually connected me in the midst of all that crisis. She had given me so many recommendations of people that I would need for my support system. So, and some of them, when she gave me the information at that time, I'll just save it. I never even bothered to look at it. But after that meeting, I got the drive and the age to go and dig deeper, to find out if there were other alternatives or if there were other places where this kind of cancer could be treated differently without me not going the route of chemotherapy and then surgery immediately. So I started my research on that very night. I had tears running down my eyes, and right on my computer, I went straight to find out about the treatment options. I went straight to try and find and understand with this type of cancer that I had. I needed to know what I was facing. My journey began. I will be taking you through my journey from that point to this day, where I am today. Just not to take too much of your time on the screen, but I'll be updating you of the next phase when I was now going back to the hospital after I had done my research and my proposal to the doctors. But all I can leave you with is I underestimated the power and the strength that I had until it was the last choice. And I am grateful for the family that I have, the friends and colleagues. I have people who have been with me from the beginning of this journey to this day. I have family and friends who will probably see this video and say, but how come she never told me? How come she never mentioned? And yet, here and there, I would talk to her and she never even hinted she wasn't well or she was going through such a difficult time. It's because at that time, I didn't need that. I didn't need any negative energy. Not that everyone gives me negative energy, but just going back into that place where you have to be repeating yourself, explaining your diagnosis and explaining where you're at, and having so many voices with so many ideas. I wanted my journey to be my journey and for me to be in charge of it, not anybody else but myself. And I am so thankful for family, for everyone, because everyone has been understanding. I had some people who heard the news and they could not help it but just to quickly call me or just to send me a message to say, Miranda, I've heard this. I don't want to invade your privacy, but please, if you need a shoulder, if you feel like you want to cry, just give me a call. I'll be there to listen. And if there's anything I can do or say to help you, I'll do my best. But all we want you to know is that we love you and care for you so much. And that is priceless. And I am grateful. So many people just send me messages. Are you okay? I've heard the news. I just want to know, are you okay? I also say thank you for getting in touch. I also have another group of people who probably felt they were too close to me and they could not approach me because they felt she has to say it or she has to tell me. Well, this is the time you've heard it from me. And I don't want anyone to feel bad because I needed space and I needed time because this is my journey and this is something that I felt I needed to focus on, entirely focus on my own with just a very few players in it whom I felt were crucial. So don't feel left out. I love you all. And I just want you to know that this is just the tip of an iceberg of what else happened. I'll be sharing my story. Do not hesitate to share this video with anyone you want to share with. And I'll be sharing my journey with you and hope to inspire other women who are probably experiencing life-threatening situations or who are going through life-threatening predicaments in life, that you are not alone. You have to tap into that power that is embedded in us. Human beings, we are powerful beyond measure. We are so powerful that when you tap into that power and you allow yourself and you surrender to that power and you go in and dig deeper, you will be amazed of some of the things that happen, the healing that comes with it. So I'll be sharing a lot of things that I've learned along the way. I've read so many books. I've met amazing people. I have so many platforms that I participate in that are related to cancer and other healing methodologies that are available. So I'll be sharing all that vast of information with you. And I hope someone will take away one or two things. And with this video, I say goodbye and see you next time.